All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Gabe, Manny, Goose, and Jay. Flipping for Beginners. In this episode, we have special guest Jay Mongillo. We cover topics that range from property management, investment properties, flipping, fixer-uppers, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Winston Churchill and Helen Keller. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things off, Jay Mongillo, thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
What's going on, guys?
So he is a little under the weather, but this is what I like. His motto is hustle harder, right? And he still showed up, and that's a message out there for everyone. Regardless of what your excuses, still show up, right?
Can't deposit excuses.
Absolutely. All right, so we did have Jay on, ironically, on episode 127, and this is episode 172. But the first one, we talked about his business of tinting, and now he has a little bit of experience. He's invested some of the money that he's earned from the tinting business, which he still has. But we wanted to bring him back on because he's doing some cool things with flipping homes. He's within the last year or so, he's just getting started. So we wanted to bring him back on, and at a crucial time, right? So a lot of times people say, oh, you have people who are already successful. So we had you on as a successful business owner for tinting. But I think it's good to have you on while you're starting something else as well in the beginning phases, right?
Yes.
So it's not like
still lots of growing pains.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so with that being said, for those of us who do not know who you are and what you do, let them know.
All right, I'm Jason Mongillo. As he said, I own 5-Star Tinting on Route 13. We now own a business. It's Chase Capital Development. We buy unwanted, rundown homes, and we completely gut and renovate them to move new families into brand new houses.
I love it. All right, so now I know a little bit of background information, but can you explain to us, how you got started, or what attracted you to jumping into this? Because there was this weird time about 10 years ago where flipping homes and everything became like this thing. All these shows started coming out, and a lot of people got pump faked because they got into it and they didn't know what they were doing, and they wasted a lot of money. But you, on the other hand, you kind of took a different route. It piqued your interest, but you were smart enough to not just jump in it like a complete animal.
Correct. I am a big risk, big reward type guy.
Yeah.
So when we were getting ready to diversify and grow a new business and go out in other ventures, we figured out what our strengths and weaknesses were.
Yeah.
I have a background. I went to tech school.
Yeah.
I graduated top of my class. Did a lot of contracting with my father and my uncle. Built a ton of stuff in my lifetime. So we took something that we knew we were relatively good at, something that we liked, something that we thought we'd enjoy, and obviously the big key is something that was profitable.
Absolutely.
Even with the 5-Star Tinting, we were not profitable for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
After our first house, we were profitable.
Wow.
So there was no downtime, there was no nothing. It was, I've had a lot of luck with having some amazing mentors, picking people's brains when they don't have to give me the information. And for some reason, I get it out of them and they volunteer it. So we went into it wholeheartedly, but with a semi-game plan. We did not know a lot about it. I know how to build. I know nothing about real estate. My wife does. So we assembled a team. We got some mentors on staff. I sat down, talked to my father. We got a realtor. Talked to some lawyers, got the company made, talked to my wife, put a plan together. As strong as that plan was, it fell apart the first day we got in there because it's again, on TV, they do 4 months in a half-hour time frame.
Sure,
Everything's easy except for the alligator in the pool or the whatever, the dumb stuff there. This is real life stuff. There's real life problems, and our first one we were profitable, but we learned so much. So a lot of people are afraid to get into the flipping because, one, real estate is very profitable, but you need a lot of money to start it.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the money, you have to find it from somebody.
Right.
So we looked at our bank account and we said, well, we don't have that kind of money to just be buying these houses.
Yeah.
Again, after speaking with mentors and going through all the steps, we went and found an amazing capital eventualist who gives us X amount of money for X amount return.
Yeah.
So what we do is that was our hardest struggle, was finding the money to be able to do what we thought and expected we could do.
Yeah.
Once we locked that down, we went from 0 to 100 in literally 19 days flat.
Yeah.
Once we knew we could purchase whatever we needed to, we put our plan together, and it was yard. We were done.
So what was it though? I know you said you had some mentors. You piqued your interest. What exactly was it? So I know is that you have a little bit of background in construction, well, a lot of bit of background in construction, but you just knew that this was something that you could do if you could just get someone to help you show you the way.
Correct.
So there's confidence there for sure.
For years, as we go into my background from back then, is when I first got on my feet, I'd worked for my father, construction, contracting, plumbing, building stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing with my uncle, same thing with friends. I've always done it. I just never did it for myself.
Exactly.
So I knew I had the skills. That was the most confident part of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, if we get this money, what do we do?
Yeah.
We were so hungry. We were like, we need to get this money so we can start what we were really getting into.
Okay.
And again, as you said, top of the market, man. Hasn't been like this in a long time.
Yeah.
And right now in the MLS, I believe there's 3 people pre-qualified for homes for every one that's listed. So the supply versus demand is insane. The last house I actually sold on Facebook. No realtors.
It's crazy.
If you follow me on Facebook,
absolutely.
I post daily videos.
Yeah.
So when a customer or somebody's interested in a house and they're going to buy a house for X amount, these people got to watch from the day we opened that door to the day they walked in, it was their house. They watched for 3 months their house getting built before they knew it was theirs. They fell in love with it and made us an offer. I think it was like 15 days before we were ready to put it on the market. The kitchen wasn't even done yet, and they put a full deposit down. So the market is insane. And again, anything you do in this life, if you put your heart into it, and there's quality, somebody's going to want it.
Right. Yeah.
The value of art, it's what somebody's going to pay for it. So if you're going to have that heart, and you're going to put that everything you need to make it the way it has to be, it's going to go.
It's a very unique time. I mean,
the economy is good.
Absolutely, the economy is good. But at what time could you actually watch your house, unless you went and you're buying a house from scratch, or you bought a piece of land, and there's no other opportunity that you would have in history that you could watch this thing unfold. Watching an investor, and that was like you guys really did pour your heart and soul. That's
I put my heart into that one. That was my baby.
That's what made it cool though, because you saw that it was going to be like a dope product, right? You saw that, but I think what sold it just as much was your excitement, the process.
Jimmy, you know me.
Yeah,
anything that I put my name on, it's at least 101% or better.
Yeah,
I will not go into something that I'm not wholehearted on.
Absolutely.
Especially, I've helped other people, but if it's going to be my name, my wife's name, my family's name, our reputation, it is going to be done the absolute best as possible.
Absolutely.
And I've been scolded by so many people in that house for, you could put a little cheaper cabinet in. You could get away with not doing the vaulted ceiling. That's an extra 200 here, 500 here, 800 here. And I had the vision. I knew what I wanted the second I walked into the house.
Yeah.
We designed it from scratch on my program in my shop.
Nice.
Then we took it to the township. We did the whole thing. And I knew what it was. And we didn't skimp on a single nail.
Nice.
And that's just, you've seen the quality of the work. It's not only was it good quality, but when you see it, you know that I put my heart into everything. Is just so meticulous.
You put it together like it was yours. Like your family was going to live in it.
And everybody keeps saying that because I said, and it's got this and 2 showers and a rock wall and that. Everyone knows that's everything I have in my house.
Yeah.
So when I bought my first house with my wife, we said, you know what? I'd love to change this. We need a walk-in closet. We need a whatever. Most Levittown houses don't have a living room or dining room. They don't have giant closets and attics and stuff like that. It's all extra money that goes out, but again, you're getting it back if you do it the right way. So we designed this last one that we did on paper, and we changed it 5 or 6 times until we got it the way we absolutely loved it. And then we said we would move into it, and then we started building it. And that was the side fact that we knew we were ready to start the build, is when we looked at each other and said, when this is done, I'll move into this. That's how much I love this project. And then that's when we go from there.
So if someone were to watch this process, I mean, it was cool. But if you were to watch this process, you didn't know who Jay or his family was, you would have literally thought he was building this house for his actual family. They already had a house, but you would have thought, because the way they were building it, you would have literally thought it was. If you came in midway, you had no idea. Midway, still passionate, still excited. I thought that's what was so neat about it, and it was different, right? Because a lot of times we do see videos, we do see other, processes.
If you love what you do, and it's so cliche, if you love what you do, you don't ever have to go to work.
Right.
It's physical labor, lugging 2x4, whatever, but we loved every aspect of that, and that's what's drawn us to this. And we haven't got away from the tinning. The tinning is still there, and it's still very profitable, and we're in the process of doing multiple things with that. But as far as me and my wife go, she's not a daily grinder in the shop. She doesn't love tinning.
Yeah.
She loves the business. She loves helping me. She loves all that.
Yeah.
But she doesn't wake up like, oh, I can't wait for Jay to go tinning today. It doesn't work like that. But I'll tell you what, you ain't never seen two people happy to walk through and skip through Home Depot picking out tiles for somebody else's house like it was our own. And that's what we actually bonded and grew our relationship better. Yeah. Not only as, lovers, but like as partners, as friends, And then that made all this worth even more wild, because I work 80 hours a week for a very long time. I now have a 6-month-old. So I'm struggling between shop, building a house, the rental property, our house, and now a newborn.
Yeah.
There's not enough time in a week, let alone a day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so then to be able to enter into a venture where my wife can be involved, and it's just like the show. She comes in and she goes, you know what? I think this wall is going to be gray. And, holds this tile up over here and says, no, this fan's going to be here. And I'd sit back and be like, I get to do something I love with the person I love. Yeah. And the best part about it is that, if you know from the past, I didn't have a great relationship with my father and my brothers from back in the day, from all the stuff that I had done. Yeah. So my father is my plumber. Yeah. My brothers work with them. Yeah. I get to work 8 hours a week and see my wife, see my son, work side by side my father for 8 hours a day, get to joke with my brothers, and then we all get to make money at the same time. Yeah. It's a win in every aspect of it. Yeah. And then this house that we're doing now, that's going to be done in 20 days, we actually bought, it's 4 doors down from my actual house. Okay. So we have 2 on the same street. Okay. So like when my wife gets done work, she'll put my son in his little carrying cart and scoot him on down with dinner, a little hot plate on his lap, and we're here, and it's 16 seconds away, so I get to spend even more time with him. So, which allows me to work, because I'm a worker. I'm not great at a lot of things in life, but the one thing I'm good at is working. Yeah. Whatever it may be. Yeah. And my wife knows my traits, and she compliments me, and again, putting that whole process together, we're like, you get to design it, I get to build it, my father gets to be involved, we get to see these people, we get to do something we love. It just was like, when they say the stars aligned, it aligned. Yeah. And then we were profitable phenomenally from the very first house. Yeah. The story is, we bought the first house, the one that we live in now, and we renovated it, and then we're going to sell it to make the money. But we loved it so much, we actually moved into it. Yeah. So instead of it being our first flip, we now live in it.
That's awesome.
And then from there, it just keeps continuing. So now we've 3 under our belt. And a little known fact, we just purchased another one on Monday. Nice. We're going to start in January. So we're going to take December off with the baby and holiday, and take a little breather from our 80 hours a week, and enjoy some Christmas and family time. And then January comes and it started all over again, new house. So.
Do you guys buy houses just in Levittown or a specific area?
We're currently buying in the Levittown area, and the only thing is, because we haven't done it long enough, we now have a rapport. When we walk into the township building, we know the girls by first name basis, and she'll call me on my phone and say, Jay, you missed the paper on page 5. What when you walk in the first time, it's an uphill battle. You're learning a business, and then meeting all these people that have a say in what you can and can't do. Right. So now that we're our house and all these other houses in, I would love to get to Bentown. We would love to get somewhere else a little bit higher end. But right now, it's close to our home base, which is the shop and our house. And we know our numbers so well that as long as we get it for X amount, we know that style house, literally to the $100, what we're getting out of it before we start the project. Yeah. You have pluses and minuses and stuff, but that's what a budget is. Right. And again, That got blown out of the window on the first one. You know, you go in and say, oh, this is only going to cost $4,000 for this bathroom. But then you forgot the reframing and this, and the permit's $180, and now that bathroom's at $550 and $580 and this and that and whatever. And it adds up. Yeah. It adds up. So what we have done is my wife taught me how to do spreadsheets. And she created a monster because I have a spreadsheet for my spreadsheets. I have five binders of spreadsheets now that are itemized lists of everything that goes in the house. Number of outlets, square footage of walls, number of sheetrock, subcontractors, and a little background on how it worked. Shout out to Chris Levins for a lot of this knowledge I'm about to tell you guys. Yeah. But most people would say you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z. And he taught me from my first house that you take what you want to make. Let's say it's $50,000. Yeah. You deduct that from the price of what you think it's going to sell for. Then you deduct how much your renovations are, and that will let you know what you can afford to buy the house for. Instead of saying, I got this house for $150,000, and then we're going to do this, this, and this, your profit margins are whatever. We know what we're going to make, and then we back our numbers in there, and that tells us how much we can spend on the house. And if it's only X amount, it's a 1-story. If it's X amount, it's a 2-story. If it's this amount, it's a Cape Cod. And you go around, you find the houses, and that's how you get your numbers. And literally, that one single piece of information changed from what we made on the first house to these next two by about 40%.
Wow.
Learning that. Instead of saying what's left over is ours, no. This is what we are going to make, and then now we're going to work the numbers in backwards. And not to sound conceited, whatever, but I have a full-time business. Yeah. So if I'm going to put 80 hours a week in at this house to make less than what I can put 80 hours in at the shop, I'm a fool for doing more work and making less money. So we have to do it that way, because I can't put myself out there with these houses and then leave the shop in shambles and come back and say, I hope we have a good week here. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. And the shop has taken a hit. I mean, we're still very profitable, but when the owner is not on the premises 24/7, I have great guys there. Don't get me wrong. I have phenomenal guys that work for me. But I can only be in one place at one time. So can them. So, I mean, this next one that we're about to do is we ran our numbers 7 ways to Sunday. And then we decided that, you know what, instead of doing a full $60,000 renovation, we're going to scale it back to 40. And then that's going to bump our time frame down from 4 months down to 2.5. And then we worked our numbers in that way so I can make sure I'm at my shop for tax time, which is our best time of year. So now I have to incorporate everything I do in this business has to be okay with this business, and then has to be okay with my son and my family life now. So now you're building a business, that's only one step of the process. Yeah. So even as we're perfecting it, my man, it's a whole nother ball game back there with running so much at one time. So
what are you going to do different with, well, you did explain a little bit of the, scaling back. You're basically put this project off an entire month, month and a half or whatever it is. What else are you doing different? What have you learned in the last 3 that you're going to apply to this one?
A wise man once told me, you can't answer a phone and swing a hammer at the same time. If you're talking on the phone, you can't be building. And if you're building, you can't be making deals. So part of the reason that we made a lot of the money that we did on this last one is because it's what's known as sweat equity. Instead of me paying somebody to come out and do X, Y, and Z for us, I purchase the material and I build it myself. Yeah. I cut out the middleman, all the profit from that. So if the bathroom costs $5,000 from a contractor, the materials might only be $1,800. When I build it myself, I keep the remainder of that, gets rolled into my profit on top of what we're already making. Yeah. That's phenomenal.
Sure.
But you can't swing a hammer and answer the phone at the same time.
Absolutely.
So if I'm in the trenches framing out bathrooms, I'm not at the shop. If I'm not at the shop, I'm not answering the phone. If I'm not answering the phone, I'm not finding the next deal. I'm not doing the next thing. So for this one coming up, we're scaling the project back a little bit. But even the one we're doing right now, I did the siding on the last one. We decided to bite the bullet. It would save us a week. That week we ran the numbers, was more profitable for me to be at the shop while they're doing it and make the money. I would make more money at the shop and then afford to pay somebody the equivalent to do that. I saved the back-breaking labor. Sure. I saved a week worth of time. Did it cost more? But my project is actually 6 days ahead of schedule right now. Yeah. So that's where, for this next one, it's, okay, you can do this stuff. What is it worth to you to make that extra dollar? Is it worth your extra 4 hours to do this little project, or is it worth it for you to pay somebody to do it? Not because you can't, but because it fits in the grand scheme better now that we are refining this process.
Yeah.
So on this one, we subbed out the roof, we subbed out the siding, we subbed out the sheetrock, we subbed out the spackle. My father does the plumbing, and we still do everything else, all the finish, the cabinets. We bring somebody in to set the granite and stuff like that. But for the most part, we're seeing what we can sub out without jeopardizing a single ounce of the integrity and feel that goes into that house of it's built with that pride. So then it comes down to finding a subcontractor that can do the work for the price that you have allotted and then be your quality, your standard. I can get a siding job for $5,000 or $2,000. Chances are the $2,000 siding is not going to look as good as the $5,000 siding. So now that process is another step farther. Now you have to vet the people that you're going to use. Their price has to match, the time frame has to match, and then the pride and quality still has to be there. That's layer 7 on one aspect of that, and this is we're learning, man. I learn every day, and I say, if you're not growing or if you're not learning, you're not growing. Yeah. The only way to grow is knowledge. If you walk in a room, you think you know everything, you hit your ceiling. You know what I'm saying? So when these siders come over, I pick the brain. They actually like, Jay, we got to get back to work. Like, can you give me 5 minutes? Like, I pick the brains until the point that it's like, I can tell, like, okay, get back to work. Yeah. But that's my thing, man. I love the knowledge. I love learning. And I love that I can learn stuff that's profitable and I love doing. So again, it's another triple win. So
talk to me about a little bit about material. So I know there's a lot of guys who do a lot of flipping, and I don't know whether this is something you like to do, you would like to do, or is it something that doesn't.
Your boy Dante's in it. He's doing pretty good.
Yeah, he's doing really good.
I talk to him a lot.
Yeah, he's the man. But there's even people like who I guess buy the same style homes, and kind of like what you're saying, they have spreadsheets. Correct. They already know exactly what's going to go. So then instead of buying in bulk, they'll buy, buying tile by the bulk because they already know they're going to do 3 houses. They already know they have a style that they want. Is that something that you're interested in?
Yeah, so what we did was we couldn't do stuff like that until my wife sat down with everybody and got the LLC. Yeah. We got our tax ID number, EIN. We got the bank account set up. We got the whole 9 yards. Yeah. Once we had that, I was able to go to these distributors and warehouses and get contractor grade pricing. So if I buy 100,000 pieces, it's still the same if I buy 4, because now I am a certified contractor with a license number that is giving them revenue. I'm not a walk-in client. I'm calling my orders in. They're shipping them to the houses. We're not browsing in the showroom for 4 days. We're coming there knowing what we want. You show us the samples, we pick the color, and that's it. My spreadsheet matches yours. You give us a price, ship it to the house, we're done. You can't always do that with Home Depot. My first house, is what they know in Flipper World as a Home Depot house. Okay. If you walk through Home Depot, that's what my house looks like. That door, that set of window, that color paint, that threshold, the tile from the 3rd row. The house was completely built 90% in a Home Depot. Yeah. It's not bad. It was our first one. But then we said, then it comes down to pricing. Yeah. How do we get better prices? Home Depot, granted, you buy a lot from them, you get a little breakdown, whatever. But
there's definitely a premium there still. Correct.
Yeah. Now you start going to distributors, warehouses, calling around, do your due diligence. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes a little. They just open up a distributor literally right in Bristol by the Amish market. Okay. The other one was in Hatfield. So we ran an hour up there. We picked it up, ran an hour back. If I was 1 piece short a week later, you had to run back, whatever. They opened up a new one. We set up our contractor license, everything with them. We get a phenomenal rate. They're right down the street, and they ship to us. So, I mean, we're learning. It's the growing part, Yeah. The knowledge was, how do we get the materials cheaper? How do we get them faster? How do we get the better quality for the less price? And you're just constantly learning. Yeah. Constantly asking questions. Constantly figuring out. Even when you think your formula is good, it might have been good for the last one. But in that 2, 3, 5 months, something new could have came out. Right. Somebody might give you the tip for that new distributor that nobody knows about. Yeah. Which is what happened to me. And you're literally constantly perfecting it. That's it. You never stop perfecting it.
So how do you find the actual houses? Now I know you want to stick in the area so you can get all your growing pains.
So pretty much what you do is you drive down the street, you find this house, and you knock on the door. you offer them a briefcase of cash, and then it's done.
Yeah,
that's best case scenario. It doesn't always work like that. That's ideal. That's what happens. So my lender has a network of people.
Okay.
And one of his real estate agents knew there was a house in Levittown going up. So they went and looked at the property. They vetted it, the whole 9 yards. And he said, hey, I got the perfect guy for this. He said, it's on Great Oak. I said, I live on Great Oak. So I walked 3 doors down, met him. We took a look at it. We made an all-cash offer. They signed the papers a couple days later, and it was ours.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say, because it's really hard, because now it's super competitive. So now you have to have some level of inside scoop.
If you can find it on a website, you pretty much can't flip it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing is, the house we just did, if that made it to the real estate, it's going to go on the market. You're getting all sorts of money taken out of it. And then you have 19 people that want to buy it.
Yeah.
3 people approved for every 1 house available.
Right.
So even if it's a crappy house, 3 people want their first house.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
So the way we do is we know our number, and we went and sat down with the lady and said, hey, this is what we can offer you. She got back to us a couple of days, said, we'll do it. And it was like that. And again, that all comes with having somebody with a lot of money standing behind you.
Yeah, sure.
So when you have that, you can then go out on a limb and start making people these offers. You start going out on a limb and saying, hey, what we're doing with our realtor right now is we're driving around in a car and we're looking at places and saying, hey.
Is it legit, though? Like, you see, like, a house that's kind of ran down, old?
Absolute.
Because, no, when you just said that, just reminded me of, there's a guy literally just driving around and looking at the crappiest driveways.
That's on me after work. And
he'll just go knock. He's like, your driveway
it's
stinks.
It's equivalent of a cold call back in the day. You pick
yeah.
up, we're driving. There might not be a crappy house in that development. Oh, well, next one, It's not like we're out for 6 hours on the clock punching nut. Like, I'm on the way to pick my son up from, I'm going to hit the side street real quick and take a lap through these 2 sections and just see what's there. Once something catches my eye, I call my realtor. I give him the address on it. He does all the background, what it was sold to, for what year and when.
Right.
Like we just made an offer on a house on our street a couple weeks ago. And we did a background on it, and we found out they'd refinanced in 2008 for $160,000. So if you do the math, they would still owe to today $124. I'm only offered $120, so we knew not even waste our time because we already knew our numbers. Right. And we knew what we could put out, right. And we did our due diligence instead of knocking down, getting them excited, sitting at the table for 4 hours, call it out. We do our numbers add up, and then we continue to cycle.
Absolutely.
And again, we've bid on houses before they've gone up and lost every one of them. We've bid on houses that were on the market, lost every single one of them. The only houses that we've gotten so far are the ones that we've sat down face to face with a lady at the kitchen table and signed a check to.
This is completely different. So if you're out there and you're thinking, I'm buying my first house, this is totally different than that.
Yeah.
So this is
these houses are not livable.
Right. And this is like you got to separate business from like your emotion, because a lot of times the emotional process comes in.
It's true.
We're talking about someone who is, like you said, is buying their first home. They're super excited.
There's so many emotions involved.
This is not that.
With the purchase of that. People fall in love with cars and pay way too much.
Absolutely.
So somewhere you might live for 10, 15 years. You've been in your mom's basement for 12 years. Absolutely. She's got a stinky cat. You hate the neighbor. Yeah. You want to get out. You're willing to pay that little extra because it's going to be yours. Yeah. And it might be your forever home. So, I mean, there is a lot of emotions in the back end of real estate.
So how do you all right, so for those of the folks that are listening that do want to get into it, what's your recommendation to them to keep their emotions in check during this process? Because you could be like, oh my God, emotionally it's different, right?
I get emotional, but my wife checks me like it's a hockey game. I'm not even playing.
The emotion I got bruises. The emotion is different though from like it being your personal home. So you're emotionally, because you're thinking, correct, you're attaching all the memories I can have. Yeah, but with correct. Flipping, you're emotionally getting excited because how much money I can make.
Correct.
So it's like,
at the end of the day, it's about red and black, profit and loss. Right, nobody starts a business to fail or to lose money.
Absolutely.
Nobody.
Absolutely.
So the easiest way for that is numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
If the numbers add up and make sense, I get super excited.
Sure.
I'm like a kid on Christmas.
Yeah.
Then my wife reels it back in there. This is, all right, now we got to check this out. Now we got to find out title. Now we got to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that checks out. And then I get really excited again.
Yeah.
And then let me tell you, we just got sheetrock Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they're spackling. So we're the closing phase, like it's called closing the walls.
Okay.
We're ready for finish. That's all the nice stuff.
Got it.
All the plumbing, the rough's done. That's where my emotions get the best of me. Because I walk down that aisle and I see the tile I love.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's $22.50 a square foot. And Kelly's, you need to cut that in half.
Yeah.
This is not your house, Jay. And you got to check the emotions again. Because I always want to put what I think looks best or what is the best of the best in here.
Yeah.
And that, again, that comes with knowing your numbers. So if you know what you're selling the house for before you start, you already have your budget for the floor. So even though you love that tile or that shower is gorgeous, if it's not in the budget, it doesn't go in.
Absolutely.
Unless like I buy my wife a gift or something, and then she's like, "All right, you can put 2 showers in this one." Did you see the last one? We put a stand-up shower and a rock wall sauna shower with a rain shower in there.
Yeah.
I had to finagle that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of finagling there
Yeah.
to get those in there. So, but again, you move money around in the budget, and again, that was the last one. Was I want to put this really nice stand-up rock wall rain shower, sauna shower in there, and it was not in the budget. So then I knew when we looked at our numbers, I then had to sweat equity my siding. Siding was going to be $5,500. The material is only $1,900 from the distributor. Again, it took me a week, but if I did the siding myself, I now have room in the budget to put that shower in that I wanted that I knew was going to be one of our, we call it the crown jewels.
Yeah.
And you have to have something that attracts that. In our houses, something that makes the wife say, "Babe, I want this," and then the husband says yes, but you know what? I got my man cave or my TV or my lounge or the giant breakfast bar to eat wings at during the Eagles game.
Yeah.
You try to appeal, and you got to make sure all that's in the budget.
Now, what would you like for your signature to be? Right. So a lot of some of these,
it's just quality, man.
Big, yeah.
It's quality. You don't need a tagline. Don't need that. When they come to our shop, they know they're getting it done right.
Yeah.
And if by that one chance nobody's perfect and we mess up, they know wholeheartedly it will be fixed until it's right.
Yeah.
Free of charge till customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
That's what we built our business on, like I told you.
Yeah.
A free lifetime warranty. We built our shop around quality, and if for some reason it's not perfect, we'll do whatever we have to make it perfect.
Sure.
We rolled that mentality over to this. A little different because they're not bringing the house back to get tinted, but you know what I'm saying? Again, if you're watching the process over these 3 months on our social media, or now we have a Chase Capital Development LLC Facebook page, we're constantly putting videos and posts on where we're getting all the love and like, even if you're not buying it, you're watching, they redid every single square foot electric. They redid every single piece of this. They put every brand new 2x4 in. There's no TV magic where, this wall is going to cost us $5,000 and it's sheetrocked. No. You watch us take it down. You watch us get the lumber. You watch us rebuild it. And then you watch us insulate it and drywall and sheetrock and plumb it.
You know what you're getting.
You know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know 100% what you're getting.
Where sometimes when these guys are flipping houses,
Hey.
Woo!
You know what we do on Sundays?
So my brother Hector just recently purchased a house. But anyway, in his search processes prior to obviously along the search, a bunch of flips are going to come up, and the realtor wants to take you to them just in case. You never know, you might see. And they just fell in love with this one house, right? Nothing was to code. So if you were to purchase that house, they had to tear down everything. And so it's one of those things where it's like you don't know what you're going to get. Yeah. It's kind of a scary thought, but that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like watching the process, you literally know exactly what you're going to get.
This awesome couple watched us build this house. A friend actually told them, "Hey, you're looking for a house? My buddy's building a house right now. You want to see what it looks like getting built?"
It's awesome.
Like them on Facebook. Became friends. Didn't really know who they were. We get a lot of likes for the business stuff.
Sure.
And the next thing you know, somebody's reaching out. "Hey, when's it going up for sale? Hey, what's it? Why don't you take a walk through? Let's see what we do." And then they fell in love with the house being built, and they knew that not one corner was cut, not one piece was out of place. That you literally watched. Day one, we walked in and gutted the place. And I don't even know, 94, that was one of my first ones. Day 94, they're getting a key to this dream house that they literally were a part of. They didn't pick up a paintbrush or nothing, but they were a part of it because they watched the whole thing. They have the stories to tell. You should have seen them putting the header beam in, or the kitchen came together, and it's 57 square foot island. Like, you're a part of it. You are literally becoming part of the project, whether you buy it or not. You get immersed in it. You don't like real estate or not. People get immersed in the fact that they can watch us tint windows and never understood the way it goes on and the inside and the glue and all that stuff. People stay there and they're fascinated with it. That's a half hour.
Absolutely.
3-month project, man. You're watching this thing. You're watching us there. I just put a post up before. I had to go get ready for the Spacklers coming tomorrow. I'm sick. I don't want to get off the bed. My son is teething. My wife just got home from 8 hours in Jersey. It's been a hellstorm of a day.
Yeah.
And I said, if I'm going to get up to come and see you guys, there's no reason I got to put an hour in at the shop or at the house. So we went down there and literally put in. I put a video up, and it gets all these views. It's people are going to look at this. This isn't 9 to 5. Nothing that I own or do is 9 to 5.
Yeah.
When you own something, you don't have the luxury of clocking out.
Right.
If that phone rings at 5:01 or 10:01, you answer it. And if you don't, you're not making the money.
Absolutely.
It comes down to that. You're only going to get out what you put in. So people are seeing this, yo, this dude just posted that he was sick throwing up all day, and then 4 hours later, he's carrying sheetrock down 2 flights of stairs in the rain. Like, you know what you're getting. Like, there's nothing ever gets half-assed with anything we do. So, I mean, that all goes into just to feel that I should have just taken a day off. Hey, Jimmy, I'm sorry, but I'm sick.
Yeah.
Hey, the house can wait till tomorrow, but that's not my mentality.
Yeah.
Back to my trucking, because I can look over there and see hustle harder anytime.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
So speak to us. So you have a rental property, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different situation because it was owned by my wife and her ex, so it became an income property for both of them. We did a little bit of work for it to make it a little bit nicer, to be able to rent it out for, just a little whatever. Nobody's getting rich off it.
Yeah.
But the mortgage is paid, and then you make a couple bucks at the end of every month.
Yeah.
So instead of owing $1,900 on a property, you're paying down the mortgage, and then you got gas for the week. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And a lot of people ask us, why don't you rent these gorgeous? How do you get $3,000 a month for them? But the way it works, the way we do it with flipping is because we're full gutting them. We're borrowing $120,000 to buy these houses.
Yeah.
We have to pay that in the interest back.
Yeah.
The day we close.
Absolutely.
Then we're putting $60,000 cash of our own money in.
Yeah.
For me to make that money back would take 18 years at $2,500. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're just not there yet. One day, once you have a portfolio and you've done this and you have 20 projects going on and you have commas in your bank account and stuff, then you can afford that. That's a retirement. That's a residual income. You millionaires, they say, if you don't make money while you sleep, you're never going to be a millionaire. If somebody's not making money for you, or you're not making it while you're sleeping, you're never going to hit, was it 7-8 figure, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how you get there, is you have to put the work in up front. We have to grind these houses out, 80 hours, blood, sweat, and tears, sweat equity, the whole 9 yards, to make enough money so that one day down the road, we can get a real rental property and it be profitable.
Yeah.
Let it pay itself off, then like a lease, let it pay itself off, and then sell it for, the profit again. But we're way off that.
Yeah.
I have very, very lofty expectations for what I want in life. That's definitely one of them, to have a lot of rental properties. But I mean, at this point, where I'm nowhere near that yet. I don't have the time or the means or the money to do that.
Sure. So where do you see, or where would you like for this to be in the next 5-10 years? With the house flipping.
Every house that we do, we get another name, another number, another contract, another friend, another referral. The first house, we did 99% by ourselves. This next one, it's going to be about 60-40, them, us.
Yeah.
We'll sub 60 out. So the goal would then to be is over the next year or two, not even a timeline, I would have to say within the next 5 houses, might be done in 1 year, might be done in 5 years. I mean, it all depends on everything. But within 5 houses, is to have that team on staff.
Okay.
I don't know if we're ever going to be a bazillion-dollar Chase Capital Development, building moguls, and obviously the plan is to be as successful as possible. But again, we still have, my wife has a full-time amazing job. I still have a shop with employees. So the goal is, just like I did with the shop, is to be able to build it with the reputation big enough that when you're there putting the hours in, you're making all the extra money, but that it's self-sufficient.
Yeah.
I still want to and have to be a part of everything that I do. I'm never going to be that dude that in 10 years is like, buy the house, never see it, and I look at the picture online. In 10 years maybe it'll be different, but right now I'm hands-on. I have to touch, feel, do, see for myself everything.
Yeah.
Excuse me again. So the ultimate goal is to, if there's 10 aspects of the house, roofing, plumbing, framing, whatever, is to get 6 of those 10 locked down for vetted, reliable subcontractors with a relative like fixed rate, that what you're getting into before you buy the house, before they give you the quote. So then this way we can come in, and I still want to be part of the finish. I want to set the cabinets. I want to be there when they put the granite down. I want to be the one to lay the porcelain tiles, because I want it done a certain way.
Yeah.
But I love the finish aspect of it. This is me and my wife's favorite part. You work your butt off to get to the point that you get sheetrock. Then you get a week off while they sheetrock and spackle, and then that's the finish stage. That's when you're picking the colors, you're laying the floors, you're doing the doors, you're putting the finishing touches on, the trim, you're making sure everything is perfect, you're doing your touch-ups. That's when it really starts coming in. This is our favorite part of the house.
Yeah.
You work your butt off, and you walk in, and it looks like a bunch of 2x4s stuck together with wires sticking out of them. Nobody understands what it is unless you're in the business.
Yeah.
But once you put the walls on, I just put a post up. I said, we got walls.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the favorite part of the house, because now we get to put our heart and soul into the plumbing. You don't appreciate that stuff because you don't get to see it. It's closed up.
Yeah.
So I really take the time with the finish. If you're going to see it, I want it to be as close to perfect, if not perfect, as possible. It's a gift and a curse because it costs you money, it costs you time, but that's the reputation we talked about.
Yeah. Same
thing with the house. I don't want anybody to ever walk into one of the houses that we bought and say, you know what? I heard I was a Chase Capital house, but I just expected it to be a little bit nice. I don't want that. I want someone to walk in and say, I love this. How much? Yeah. That's what I want. I want someone to walk in and be happy, not, well, maybe if you change the gutters or put this down. I want it to be, I want you to fall in love with it. Yeah. If you didn't already fall in love with it during the 3 months we built it, then I want you to walk in at the open house and fall in love with it right there and say how much.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. That quality. That's it.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. All right, so we talked a little bit about social media. Was there anything else you use? Because I know you use social media too to you put out inspirational quotes. Yeah. You have like your little your hustle harder mantra. Is there anything else you use it for business sense?
That's really it.
But it's building because the reason why
network again. A very smart person told me your net worth is only as good as your network.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it by yourself and you're in trouble, you ain't got nobody to lean on. The stronger your network is, the more people you have behind you, the more people that you can depend on, the stronger you are. So we've literally built our network through social media. That's it. I had a website built, cost a fortune. We put a ticker on the bottom for the last 4 months, got 67 views. Put a post up for Chase Capital, I think it was 970 views.
Yeah.
Pay for this website. Nobody, it's the same exact name, but we've just stuck with Facebook. Has been very good to us, And again, if you stay on it and you stay in the eye, even for just a little quote once a week, a little whatever, our name constantly reoccurs. It's never negative. It's always positive. It's a house. It's a this. It's a car. It's a shop. It's a quote. Yeah. But that's it. We don't have a secret antidote for we're so successful because we do this Facebook algorithm. No, we post what we feel. We love what we do. Yeah, and it writes itself, and people seem to like that.
Yeah, So you talked a little bit about the work-life balance, and that's your goal.
Still figuring that out.
Yeah, and that is something. Is there a tip that you have for anyone, or even obviously none of us here have perfected any of that, but on our way to, I guess, coming up with the best solution for us as individuals. But I think you pretty much nailed it, saying, you and your wife do, this together, and you provide that time, with the family, and it's not always easy, but you try to somehow make it work.
Yeah, if it's easy, it ain't gonna last. Anything in life that's easy is not gonna stick around.
Yeah.
Man, I could take a couple stabs, but all I know is that when I don't get to see my son for an extended period of time, I make sure I get to.
Yeah.
And I get 2 hours in the morning with him before I drop him off at daycare. Then we're off to the races.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get done at 6. Sometimes I won't be home till 10. I'm not always building a house, but I might be at a meeting. I might be at a whatever.
Yeah.
Again, owning a business is full time.
Yeah.
There's no days off.
Yeah.
There's no hours off. There's no minutes off. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
And fortunately and unfortunately, something is always going to have to be tall in the pecking order.
Yeah.
And the one thing I did learn is that pecking order, that totem pole, doesn't have to be the same day in and day out. This week, my priority is to get them walls closed at the house at all costs. Sick, thrown up, doesn't matter. It has to get done.
Yeah.
So my number 1 and number 2 now slid down to number 2 and number 3.
Yeah.
But next week, while they're spackling the rest of this week, I'm going to suck up all that time to be able to get home at 5 o'clock like a normal person.
Yeah.
And get to feed my son and bathe him and do all the stuff that we get to do with him, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really it. I just, you make a plan, your totem pole, your pecking order, whatever, and it's okay to shift it. It's okay to alter it. Make it, it's yours. It's nobody else's. Make it work for you. And that's it.
I love it. All right. So closing out, last question for you. What is your recommendation for someone brand new who doesn't have no contacts, no nothing, but are very interested in investing in real estate or flipping homes or
Pick another field.
yeah?
Nah, I'm just playing. You gotta remember, man. I've only been doing this less than 2 years.
Sure.
And the first year was my house.
Yeah.
That we ended up moving into, which wasn't supposed to be our house, whatever. So I mean, in all reality, we are no seasoned veteran. We might not even be a sophomore at this point.
Sure.
We're just a seasoned rookie.
Yeah.
First thing above it all, it doesn't matter how good your plan is, how much talent you have. If you cannot purchase that house, there's no plan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this new car. If your job doesn't support that, you ain't getting that car.
Yeah.
So the first order of business is to find the financing before you even find a house. Because if you can then find a house, and again, you got that rich guy behind you, you have the ability to go and do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people get these steps mixed up, and again, I did too the first time.
Yeah.
We liked the house. We couldn't find the financing. We had to put this in her name, move this money around. It was a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
We learned.
Yeah.
We'll never do it again.
Yeah.
So now you secure the financing. A little bit harder than just securing the financing, but that's the step one.
Sure.
Then once you have somebody that's want to finance you, then you find the property.
Yeah.
Once you find the property, then it's the process of the person financing you, vetting the home. You have to do your paperwork, all that stuff. Now you have the property in your name. Once it's in your name, you should already have had that plan. That's what, when you close on a house, you get 30, 40, 60 days. It's there because that's the time that we have allotted to us to build this house on paper.
Yeah.
So if we close in 18 days or in 15 days, 30 days, that's the time that we have, because the day that goes in my name, we are paying interest on it. We're paying employees. Every day costs you money. Whether somebody's there or not, it's interest, it's whatever,
Absolutely.
Taxes, school, whatever. So you take that time from the time you pick your property to close on it to build your plan. I don't know what stage or step you'll be. You might sweat equity like me and, do the whole thing yourself. You might have all your friends lined up or, whatever. But your plan is built. You get the house. And then the most important step is you execute.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't matter how good your plan is. You hit a speed bump, man. You fall, you got to get back up.
Absolutely.
We hit speed bumps every day there.
Absolutely.
So you build your plan, you execute, and that's it.
I love it. All right. So any parting words for those listening? Anything?
Hustle harder, man. Doesn't matter what you do in life. If you put that little extra effort in every day, every time you go out, eventually somebody's going to notice it. And it might take a very, very long time, but eventually the right person will notice and respect and appreciate that effort you put out, and you will become either a valued asset to them or they become a valued asset to you. You only get out what you put in, so make sure you're giving it 100 all the time.
I love it. We'd like to close out our episodes with quotes, and the first one is by Winston Churchill. Pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. The second quote is by Helen Keller. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. There you have it, folks. Flipping for Beginners. In this episode, we have special guest Jay Mongillo. We cover topics that range from property management, investing properties, flipping, fixer-uppers, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Winston Churchill and Helen Keller. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.